management skills. And we have this kind of stereotype for a leader that is a man, usually a male, with authority, with power. But in fact, a leader can be anyone. You can be a leader in your area. I can be a leader even in my house with my children, because leadership is about influence. So if you have the power to influence people and you can see the goal in front of you that you want to reach, this is leadership. So it's very important that we implant these skills in our youth or even in our children. You know that leadership can be taught even to kids starting from 8, 10 years. They can be leaders knowing how to influence, how to have a vision, how to have a goal, and to pursue this goal with all their efforts and knowledge and activities in order to reach it eventually. So it's very important, not for being promoted at work. It's very important to lead a successful and equivalent or balanced life.
Right. You've just mentioned teaching leadership skills even to the young, to the children, and starting at the age of 8, as you've just mentioned. So how can we start teaching our children leadership skills at a very early age, like 8, as you said?
Yes. Well, this is actually a very joyful experience that I recommend that each parent go through. How to teach their kids to be leaders is first by allowing them to share their insights, to encourage them to talk and to experience life the way they should. It's not the way we want them to experience it. Because one of the top qualities of a good leader is the extroversion, or being able to communicate easily with people and to experience life openly. So parents should encourage their kids to live normally in their own way, and to speak, and to whatever vision they have, whatever goal they have, parents should encourage that. And if it's not something good or something that might be harmful to them, a parent should advise, not order, not just give command to do this and not to do that. So this is very important, starting from the age of 8, when the kid is aware of what to do and what not to do. And we say that the psychology of the kid starts to be developed. It's actually not fully developed until the age of 20.
But I think it starts to develop at a very early age, maybe at year 1.
Yes, by the age of 5, the 3 components of a child's psychology, which is we have 3 parts of a personality that talks about psychology, which is the id, the ego, the superego, and each differs in terms of what the kid wants, how the kid can achieve this, and what is ethical and what is not. This is completely developed by the age of 5 to 6. This is as per Freud, Sigmund Freud.
Right.
So we have to pay attention to whatever our kids want to do.
To them to say their opinion freely.
Yes, without even judging. I mean, if I am a parent and I want to advise or to raise my kid in a healthy way, I should allow him to speak. But still, of course, I would say this is right and this is wrong, and explain why this is right and this is wrong. Not just, don't do that, you shouldn't be doing this, you'll be punished if you do that. And this is actually the mistake that we
So in other words, you're trying to say that I should not impose any ideas, but sometimes they require from the parent direction. I mean, to direct them, because sometimes they are naive, sometimes when it's a single girl or a single boy, their experiences are so limited, so you need to impose ideas, you need to impose the good values, you need to impose awareness. How can I be able to do that without, erasing their own?
Well, let me challenge you in something. What is a good value? If a good value to you, it can be not a very good one for me.
Like stealing, for example.
Of course,
lying.
This is a behavior. This is not value. Stealing is a behavior. And usually when you talk to someone who usually steals, they would have a rationale why this. For example, they would tell you, I don't have this toy, I wanted it very much, and my parents wouldn't afford to get it to me. So he has a rationale that you can stop in front of it and say, well, yes, he has a point. But you can convince the kid that stealing is unethical, that stealing is against our religion, that stealing would to go into problems and consequence, undesirable consequence. But you cannot impose him, do not do this, because usually the kid would like to, would go against what you are telling them. This is the normal psychology of children and teenagers. If you tell a teenager to do this, he would always do the opposite. And I think we all know this. So you need to convince the girl or the boy of what is right and what is wrong, and allow them to see that it is really right or really. Because you can, for example, you can say that stealing is bad, but then you find the girl saying, this is not stealing, I'm just borrowing something from my friend. So it's
so
the
you mean
same.
we should leave him to take the experience, even though we don't feel very comfortable about leaving him to take this experience, but
Yes.
we must be strong. I mean, child to take the experience as it is.
Your role as a parent is to guide the child, not to impose your personal viewpoint. Because surprisingly, we are all humans. We might have wrong viewpoints. By the end of the day, we have been raised by the viewpoints of our parents. And these have been transferred through generations. And if they're wrong, it has been transferred to us in the wrong way. So yes, we would definitely encourage parents to allow their children to experience life, to talk, to share their opinion. And the parent should listen, not just, I mean, to attentively listen to what the kid is saying, not just not just hearing the sound of the kid.
Giving him the chance to discuss matters.
Yes.
And right. Do you think that leadership skills, a person is naturally born with some leadership skills, or is it all acquired by time?
This is a very good question. Thank you for asking it. Well, I talk science, so my reference in that is made an international study for all the leaders around the world. And surprisingly, they wanted to classify whether leaders are born or made. And surprisingly, the percentage was leaders who were born as leaders, the natural skills, ranged from 7 to 8% of the total population. And those who arise from crisis are 2 to 3%, and the remaining percent are made leaders.
Made leaders.
Made leaders. Those who are transformed. I mean, and this is what we actually aim to do, is that we want to teach youth, children, even adults and people at work how to be transformed into a leader. It's not a myth that anyone can be a leader. Of course, there are varied degrees on how you exercise leadership. But again, any one of us can be a leader, a male or a female, a kid or an adult, because we all know the traits, or I mean the traits are well known. And as I mentioned earlier, it's about extroversion, it's about self-confidence, it's about the desire to lead and to the drive or the motive to reach a certain goal. And of course, if we are talking about something technical, a leader should have the basic technical knowledge about, or not the basic, but also advanced technical knowledge about the subject they are studying. So it's very important, but it's achievable and it's possible.
How do you prepare someone to be a leader? What does it take? What are the steps or the stages through which one could go if they're not innate leaders?
Okay, this is a good question. And this is actually was the question behind all the activities and training programs that we offer for leadership. How we prepare them, first of all, it's by awareness. And by awareness, I mean the person being aware of skills, what they have, and where they want to go. And the second thing is to raise the motive of being a leader, because not everyone wants to be a leader. You can find someone who tells you, I'm good this way, I do not want to lead people, I do not want to influence people, I would live by myself. So the second thing is that to raise the motive behind being a leader, and then we start introducing the different concepts and the benefits of being a leader, and finally we provide a lot of exercises and activities during the sessions on how to be a leader, how to be able to take decision given certain under certain circumstances or certain conditions, how to be able to get the people around you, because a leader is about being surrounded by people. For example, Gandhi is a very good example of a leader without a political authority or without in an organization. Gandhi was an excellent leader because he could influence all the people around him and sharing their beliefs and sharing their own belief system. So
what about the very well-known charismatic leaders that we've learned in politics about them, like, for example, Abdel Nasser, Hitler?
Yes. Well, we have a lot of classifications for leaders. One of them is the charismatic, and yes, some people are born with a charisma, and a charisma, we say, it's the ability to influence by just talking or by just appearing on TV.
I think Nasser was one of those, right?
Gamal Abdel Nasser was
a charismatic leader.
Was
right?
definitely a charismatic leader because he was loved by all the people regardless his
what he was
technical,
saying.
Yeah, and regardless his technical career as a leader or as a president.
Right.
I wouldn't go in this part, but I mean people loved the guy.
Right.
So this is another kind, but this is something that you cannot get here for yourself. I cannot get a charisma for myself, but I can have the skill that allows me to lead people and to be able to influence them based, of course, on knowledge, and then based on the ability to listen to people and to share them and share their ideas and speak for them. This is very important.
Right.
Why do we tend sometimes to find who are well established and come from a high-ranking family or who is well off, some comes from a family that is well off, they don't tend to possess qualities of leadership. And when you find people who were born in harsh conditions, who were never taught at all, they didn't even acquire efficient education, and they had hardships in life, they tend to be successful leaders. I mean, how do you justify that?
This is very smart. Well, maybe this would tell people that hardships
develop the leadership skills.
Make
right?
leaders. This can be true in certain cases, but again, as I said, the study that was made internationally said that leaders arising from crises are 2 to 3% of the total population of leaders. But the well-offs, the high-ranking families are usually indulged.
Pampering.
Yes.
So maybe they don't pass through the real experiences of life.
Exactly. Thank you very much. This is very true. They create an experience for their children to pass through. And then this experience is affected by their own viewpoints. So it's like you said, Dina, earlier, they impose the environment they want over their children. And one of the main qualities of a leader is the integrity and honesty. And this is usually taught in normal standard of families. I'm not saying, of course, that the well-offs do not teach their kids the integrity and honesty, but they teach them indirectly that everything you can reach whatever you want, you do not have any limitations in life, and consequently this doesn't teach you integrity or honesty. So did I answer your question?
Perfectly, yes.
Thank you.
Right. Dr. Aliaa El-Dardery, Human Development Expert, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I guess this is where we end this edition of The Breakfast. My name is Tina Sina. All the pleasure to have with me Naveen Ramzi for my Sunday morning partner. Thank you very much and happy Palm Sunday.
Thank you.
And we'll have to pack and go and tell you goodbye. We'll see you.